Hello readers, it's really good to see you again. I'm Ruben Hepplethwaite and welcome back to Keep Reading, your channel for great book recommendations to get you through the seemingly never-ending coronavirus lockdown. Yeah, we're well into week 11 now of the lockdown. Yeah, that's right, I said week 11. I hope you're fit and well, and I hope that some of you are getting back to some sort of normality. But for the rest of you, you're going to need some good book recommendations, so you came to the right channel. Anyway, I hope that you've been reading some of the books that I've recommended so far during the lockdown. If you click on the link above, that will take you to my complete reading list, and you might find something there that suits you if the book that I'm recommending today doesn't float your boat. This week I'm wearing my Highclere Thoroughbred racing cap. You know, racing has got back on the agenda over the last few days, which is great. I've been lucky enough to participate in a number of racehorse syndicates with Highclere over the last few years, and it's great fun. So if you're interested, click on the link above. Wearing this cap makes me feel like I'm taking out our Irish setter Olive for a nice long walk in the countryside. So, without further ado, on to this week's recommendation. It's a book that was recommended by Oprah Winfrey on her new book club show on Apple TV+. It's an exciting, brilliant, imaginative and ambitious debut novel by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and it's entitled The Water Dancer. So there you go. This is the second book by Ta-Nehisi Coates. He also wrote a very successful non-fiction book called Between the World and Me, and he also writes opinion pieces for the magazine The Atlantic, in which he's proved himself to be a keen and insightful observer of racial and cultural politics in America. I planned to recommend this book a few weeks ago, but it turns out to be quite a relevant book at the moment, following the recent death of George Floyd in police custody in the USA. The Water Dancer is set in pre-Civil War Virginia, where the land has been worked to exhaustion through growing tobacco. It tells the extraordinary and mysterious story of Hiram Walker, who was born into slavery and the life of tasking on a Virginian plantation. He also happens to be the son of the plantation master Hal Walker, who sold his mother, indifferently breaking the bond between mother and son when Hiram was just a small boy. Hiram is soon assigned as a manservant to his half-brother and heir to the plantation, Maynard, and they are involved in a freak accident when their carriage tumbles into the turbulent River Goose. This is where Hiram's true calling begins. This book is about slavery and the green shoots of the abolition of slavery through the operation of the Underground Railroad. But it's so much more than that. Hiram has the gift of a photographic memory, but he also has a much more powerful gift than that. It's the ability to magically transport himself and others from one place to another. Coates calls this the gift of conduction, and that's in a nod to the conductors that helped runaway slaves by providing them with safe passage to and from railway stations. I wasn't entirely sure about this fantastical twist to the plot at first, but the more I read, the more it became clear to me that this power was symbolic, in that the power of conduction must have been the secret wish of every enslaved person that had been dehumanized by their slave owners to take their destiny in their own hands and escape bondage. This novel is very powerful, it's inspiring, and it's beautifully written. It's definitely one of the best novels I've read for a while. When reading this book, the subject of slavery in America took me back to my youth, when I'd watched the TV series Roots with my family back in the early 80s, I think, and how that whole situation as a child was very difficult to comprehend. It also occurred to me that it really isn't that long ago since slavery was abolished in America in 1865. Slavery had existed there for about 250 years prior to this, about 10 generations, I suppose, and it's only been around 5 generations since slavery was abolished. And bearing in mind that it took quite a long time for most of the white Americans to get used to this, the current status quo has really only existed for the last couple of generations, if that. The Water Dancer is a magnificent novel and definitely one to add to your reading list. It's also a stark reminder of the cruelties of slavery, the brutality that humans can be capable of inflicting on one another, and that a system so unfathomable now existed not that long ago. Black lives matter, all lives matter, everyone matters. So that's another lockdown recommendation done. Subscribe to the channel today for more book recommendations. Remember to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Send your own recommendations to me in the comments section and I'll shout them out in the following week. I'll be back with another recommendation next Thursday and another hat. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, and keep reading.